So hello everyone, welcome here to the first ever race here at the Las Vegas Coliseum for round number 7 of the NASA RallyCross Challenge in 2015A. I am Josh Mertz, alongside me Dylan Livingood, bringing you the call for what will be an incredible race as they converted this stadium into a rallycross course, and Dylan Livingood, I have to say, they've done a hell of a job.
Yeah, it really came out a lot better than I thought. Really exciting track, a lot of different lines you can run through the corners, and that's what makes it really exciting. There's always an option to get around the guy in front of you.
As cars making their way around for seating, there's Dylan Livingood, Tanner Smith, Josh Mertz. As you see Mertz once again in a new paint scheme this week. The Philip Morris deal that he had going for his team lasted one race, as the NASA Rallycross officials said, yeah, we can't have that be your main sponsor for your team. So Mertz's personal sponsor, Pizza Hut, has stepped on to car number 1 as everyone waiting to get gridded up for seating here. As fastest in practice was Dylan Livingood. I believe it was then Keith Sherman. Then it was Mertz. Those are the top 3, as everyone else making their way around. It's a relatively small field today, as costs have been rising, Dylan Livingood, and I can't really understand why.
Well, Las Vegas is an expensive facility to go to, and there was a lot of track changes that we had to make, and those are some of the reasons why the costs went up. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Chris Wetz or Tristan Hagenstein. Not enough sponsorship money came through on both of those teams, so tough break for them.
As it was that, I believe that Klondike and Tristan Hagenstein, they were longtime partners, but I don't believe Klondike wanted to pay the additional fee. And Tristan Hagenstein actually, along with that, he was quite disgruntled over the past couple of seasons. So I believe he has called it quits on his NASA Rallycross career. But I'm not sure about Chris Wetz. Hopefully we'll be able to see the American, who I believe is 3rd all-time on the wins list, back next week in Riverside, as we are going right down the road over to Riverside, California, as the field's getting ready here.
Hopefully we see Tristan back. I mean, he's one of the best guys to race with in this series, and he's been here since the beginning, and it's just a long-time partnership coming to an end, and hopefully things can get turned back around for him.
So the seating order will be Livingood, Sherman, Mertz, Paul, Smith, Bellamy, Erdman, as Erdman has gotten into car number 2 once again. That's his 3rd car number this season, as Livingood off the grid and crosses the line to begin his seating lap in car number 51 over the first little jump here and into this really tricky section. This is a very tight section, and it's only one line.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a little bit of contact come the heat races, because it's really narrow. It funnels down. There's not a lot of room on the front stretch to begin with, and then you go into that quick left-right action, and cars just go every which way through there.
As off on track as well, I believe, is Sherman, and there goes Mertz, as the defending champion will start his lap. There are groups of 3 here in seating. As you see Livingood running onto that banking, it was originally, like I mentioned earlier, as I believe I thought I mentioned earlier, the dirt was changed a couple days ago. That used to be grass, as Sherman is sideways on his seating lap, as Livingood crosses the line of 50.002. That was not the racing line until a couple days ago, when actually it was Livingood and Mertz here testing, and they found that running on the banking was a whole hell of a lot quicker than running on the flat, as Sherman sideways and crosses the line 54.716, and let's see what the defending champion can do in car number 1.
Yeah, and because of that addition of that dirt, I think that's what's causing those drivers to get a little bit sideways coming out of that second corner.
48.444 for Mertz, as it looks like Paul jumped. That might hurt his lap a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to have a little bit less acceleration time before he crosses the line, so a little bit slower speed at the line, but maybe he can make it up with the rest of his lap. He's been really fast here this weekend. On the backstretch over the jump into the left-hander, as the penalty box is a lot more obvious than in previous weeks. Last week at Negus it was moved from the inside of the final chicane to the outside, and this week NASA Rallycross did not want any discrepancies, so they put a giant penalty box in yellow on in between those 2 corners there. Yeah, and the nice thing about us actually being able to change the racing surface a little bit here. The owners of the track letting us do that. It opens up that option for us and makes things easier and with a little bit less discrepancy. And so, hopefully, if someone has to use it, then it won't be any question as to where it is or how to use it.
As I don't think anyone is going to get close to Mertz. Tanner Smith, 49.988. Caleb Paul, 50.129. Let's see what Daniel Bellamy will do in his private Subaru, 52.099. He's going to take the privateer points lead from Nicholson back this week, and Erdman will cross the line, 50.697. So I believe that will give Mertz fastest in the seeding round here. As let's pull up the seeding round results here for you. It's Mertz, 48.444. That's a second and a half. That has reset the record that Tanner Smith set in Island Rally this season. He had a second advantage over Mertz. 48.444. Tanner Smith, 49.988. Living Good, 50.002. Caleb Paul, 50.129. Erdman, 50.697. Bellamy, 52.099. Sherman, 54.716. And Nick Cars, unsure what happened to the 35, but he was unable to make a time. And I am shocked as to the stretch in times here.
Yeah, but looking at those results, are you surprised by the top 3 names on there?
Well,
I don't think so.
No, because they are the top 3 in the Drivers' Championship. It's gotten tight. Mertz had a huge lead earlier in the season, did not make the final in the Proving Grounds, and he now has a 2-point lead over Tanner Smith after Smith's win in Negus last week. As cars are rounding the field here, here's Mertz over the jump between the first 2 banked corners. As trying to get, I don't know why he's trying to get the tires warmed up on dirt, but the 3-time champion must know something that we don't. As it's going to be Mertz, Smith, and Sherman, as I think Nick Cars, something is amiss in that Subaru, so he will have to take part in the LCQ.
Yeah, I heard the mechanics furiously working on that 35 machine.
As they are down in the garage, which is right to your right there. It's out of shot. As Mertz has pulled up to his grid spot, or trying to at least. As he has pulled up, Keith Sherman pulled up. Here is the grid for heat number 1. It's Mertz, Cars, Smith, and Sherman. And look how much space Mertz has in that first grid spot. Is that going to be a hindrance?
No, that should open him up for a better line through turn 1. I think Mertz definitely has the advantage here on the start.
Fastest in seating, leading the points by 2, and the defending champion. He has not won since Island Rally, but the podiums that he has accumulated has helped him in the championship. It's lights out and away we go, and off the line to begin lap number 1. It's Sherman at the line with the whole shot, beating Mertz over the jump into turn 1. Mertz and Smith are battling. Will Mertz take the inside on Sherman? Yes! So it's Mertz, Sherman, and Smith on the back straightaway. But Sherman looks to the inside. Can he get it done on the German? Yes! He gets by him! Will Mertz take to the inside through the left-hander, past the penalty box for the first time, and into the first banked right left-hander, there. To the banking goes Sherman and Smith. Smith passes Mertz, and now Mertz is in third.
This is amazing racing here. This is the championship between the 2 in the back. Keith Sherman, I've never seen him running so strong up here in first.
Into the dirt once again. Another hairpin. Those are the 3 banked corners, and now over the jump and into the flat left-handers. Very tricky. Sherman runs it wide. Smith leads. Who will get second at the end of lap 1? It's Sherman with 3 to go.
Yeah, now Tanner just wanting to pull that gap away from the other 2, but it's not going to happen easy.
As this is incredible racing. In testing, the cars were very close to each other. This track's a lot like Munich. We still have not gotten you a broadcast from that race, but I promise you when we do, that will be a fantastic race, as these tracks are pretty much identical. To the banking goes Smith and Mertz. Sherman on the outside. Mertz got him as he held the inside, and Smith ran the inside. As you can get it, but it slows you down, as these cars look incredible on that banking.
Yeah, definitely hanging it out. A couple people just barely scraping the wall with the corner of their bumper.
And crossed flag shown at the end of lap 2. It's Smith v. Mertz as both of them go to the Joker. Mertz goes to the inside on Tanner Smith and the Joker. You can tell he needs the lead in the bonus point. Mertz to the point. Smith is going to try the inside, but I don't think he'll make anything happen. As they make contact in the left-hander.
And it's all about how bad you want it, and Tanner just overstepped his boundaries a little bit. Tried to give Mertz a little bit of a bump, try to rattle him, let him know, hey, I'm there, I want that bonus point, but ended up costing him a lot of time there, and I don't think he's going to be able to make it up here because these cars are so close.
As he did not turn Mertz more than 90 degrees, so that will not be a trip to the penalty box, but you can essentially say it was a penalty for Smith as both of them were slow. As rounding the final corner to take the white flag will be Mertz in car number 1, followed by Sherman in car number 15.
And now it's just smooth sailing for the one of Josh Mertz. He's just got to run these last couple of corners clean, not get himself in any trouble, and I'm pretty sure he's going to come across the line first here for our first heat race.
As Sherman second, Smith in third. And 47.104 from Sherman, 47.917 from Mertz. As smooth sailing is Mertz in car number 1.
Yeah, just down to the last couple of corners here, getting over the jumps clean. This last couple of corners really bites some drivers, but nice and smooth around those last couple of corners and bringing it home in first.
Mertz wins. Sherman second, and to the LCQ, Tanner Smith in car number 13. I can't believe I just said that. I mean, we said it well, we didn't really say it. Mertz didn't race in the heat, but Mertz was in the LCQ last time a championship contender was. So who knows what'll happen later on tonight. As let's actually take a look here. Sorry to cut you off. You can continue your point while we find the replay here. We're going to take a look at Mertz and Smith. Actually, the start, and then Mertz and Smith.
I completely forgot what I was going to say, so just go for it.
So, once we pull up our replay system here, our replay guys completely ignored that we wanted to show a replay to you. So we will find it here. The start has already started, but we will still show you this. It's off the line here. Sherman got the whole shot, but Mertz and Smith battled, and you saw how it funneled down. And this left-hander, you have to slow down to 35 miles an hour, and you can tell the walls are really close, and Sherman tried the inside, and he got the move done because Mertz had wheel spin in car number 1, and I'm actually hearing that on lap number 2, the shifter was popping out of place in car number 1, so he had to deal with that while trying to battle for a heat win. So, I mean, we saw that happen in Croft in 2014A, but that ended up with Mertz barrel rolling, and that wasn't too fun for him.
So if history repeats itself, then...
As now we're going to take a look from the helicopter as to this pass that Mertz did by Smith and the Joker. He snuck to the inside. It looked like Smith got a little bit loose, and he got that pass done. And I don't know if you'd call that desperation or just a well-planned move, because Mertz, I never saw that happen in practice, so I don't know what you'd want to call that.
I mean, he just saw the opening open up for him and just went for it, and Tanner kind of realized that, gave him a little bit of room, and was hoping to battle him in the next corner. And unfortunately, that contact made between the two hindered Smith's chances of fighting with Mertz for the rest of the race.
So now the cars are rounding the track for heat number 2. Erdman will go into the second banked corner here as the Area 52 designed Subaru Impreza. He was trying not to run car number 2 this season, but with Hagenstein's retirement / funding issues, it has put Erdman back in car number 2. It'll be Bellamy, the privateer points leader, in car number 125. Livingood in car number 51 as he slams it into the wall. And then Caleb Paul in car number 7.
Which I almost find that ironic because Erdman was the one who retired at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that is kind of funny because Erdman called it quits, and then he's back now, and Hagenstein didn't want to race. As heat number 2, it's Livingood on pole, Bellamy, Paul, and Erdman for the 4 laps here today. I can't predict this. We'll just have to sit and watch as everyone's lined up here, getting ready to go. Erdman's way past the line, but I don't think that'll be an issue. And it's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, it's going to be Living Good with the hole shot in car number 51. 3 wide, Bellamy, Paul, and Erdman. Erdman hits the wall. Paul hits him, and into the corner. Is that a penalty? I don't know.
Not sure. We got a couple. Actually, we have all the admins here on track. Going to be a little bit confusing on the call. I think Paul might take to the penalty box just for a precautionary measure, and yes, he does.
As that could have been called, I think, like you said, he just decided to go just so he didn't get penalized. Living Good pulling out to a lead. It's Bellamy second, Paul third. Erdman is fourth, even when Caleb had to go to the penalty box.
Yeah, now Caleb's just got to play catch-up right now. Erdman didn't get a lot of practice time. Actually, I don't think he got any practice time. I think this is his practice, so I don't think Erdman's going to be guaranteed a spot in the final here, as the 125 and the 51 are pretty much gone.
But I don't know, as Erdman's sideways, I don't know if anybody else does this, but I know for a fact Erdman can basically learn a track within a lap, because he's done this before. He's going to probably use these 4 laps to his advantage, learn the track, and then he's probably going to be blisteringly fast, because that's just how Erdman is.
And it's the most frustrating thing when you end up in an LCQ with him, because you know he's going to be fast, and you know he wasn't someone who was supposed to be in the LCQ to begin with had he had practice.
Crossed flags already, and it's Living Good still leading. 47.2, he's the fastest car on track by a long shot, as Bellamy 50.155 in the Subaru.
Yeah, and Living Good did take his joker this last lap.
As I forgot to show that graphic. Everybody knows it, but the heats that have been going on, 4 laps, a joker once, top 2 advance. The LCQ coming up is 3 laps joker once, and the top 2 advance, and then the final race will be 6 cars, 8 laps joker twice, so I apologize for that. I show it every race, but like I mentioned, everyone probably knows it by now, but you always have new fans tuning in. You never know if they're going to have a clue as to what's going on, but you know what's going on. It's the white flag for Dylan Living Good, the 4-time champion. He is 2 wins down on Mertz. Mertz has 14 career wins, Living Good 12. Will Mertz start to pull away, or do you think Living Good is going to claw his way back up?
You know, it's really kind of been a cold season for Living Good. He hasn't gotten a win yet. We're here in the last half of the season. That's usually when he starts to get strong. Definitely showing a lot of strength today, better than I've seen him here in the past couple of weeks. But, you know, I think a win will help rejuvenate him if he can get one here today. He's got the fastest car on track right now. He just needs to hold it all together in the race and see what happens. But I think that's really the difference between Mertz and Living Good this season.
Checkered flag, car number 51, position number 1, winning heats number 2, and it's going to be Bellamy transferring into the LCQ. Will be Caleb Paul and Cody Erdman. As we're going to take a quick look at the start there between Erdman and Caleb Paul. As I'm hearing that there was, after review here, let's take a look at it from the helicopter. Slowing it down, it looks like Bellamy just hit Caleb, which sent Erdman into the wall, and Bellamy got by them. And it looks like Caleb just could not slow down and hit Erdman. As I'm hearing, there should have not been a trip to the penalty box for car number 7.
Yeah, it was just one of those racing deals. I think Erdman didn't realize that Caleb was underneath him and just contact being made, and that's what it looks like.
So, that will send Caleb Paul to the LCQ, Nick Cars, Cody Erdman, and Tanner Smith, as that's a really odd sight. Tanner Smith in an LCQ, the man who won last week in Negus, beating out the defending champion.
Yeah, but you know, we've seen Living Good go to the LCQ a number of times and still finish out great, so if his Revolution teammate's anything like that, then it shouldn't be an issue for Tanner.
As he misses the grid, So he'll have to go around, and the officials don't like it when you go backwards, but he'll have to do that. He did it once at Talladega a couple seasons ago. So I'm anxious to see, as Tanner is stuck on the outside, as let's go through the grid here for the LCQ. It's Caleb Paul, Nick Cars, Cody Erdman, Tanner Smith, and Smith is on the outside, and this track does not like it if you're on the outside.
No, it really doesn't.
Getting ready, revving them up for the LCQ. It's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, at the line, whole shot to Erdman as he squeaks past Paul and Smith into the S's for the first time. It's Erdman, Paul, Smith, Cars. As Paul to the inside of Erdman and gets the spot on him, but Erdman powers by on the outside. What a race already.
And everyone ran it wide into corner number 1.
As into the banking for the first time. It's Erdman taking the banking. Caleb Paul does not. Can Smith get by him on the outside? No, he tries the inside. Paul to the banking. Erdman goes to the banking. Tanner Smith and Caleb Paul side by side as he's not giving up in car number 13.
That's a bad corner to run low in for Tanner.
As Nick Cars having issues in car number 35. Potentially what they fixed is broken. Tanner Smith to second. Can he get by as Erdman leads with 2 laps to go? To the Joker goes Erdman and Paul. Smith is sideways. Tanner Smith has spotted in car number 13.
Yeah, huge bobble for the 13. Now he's going to have to fight with the 35. Not for long, though. He's going to get things back going. But Caleb's gone. He took his Joker that lap, got cleanly through the Joker. That's going to be a really tough race for Tanner here on out.
As this is possibly saying sayonara to the championship, as he had a saving grace when Mertz missed the final 2 weeks ago in the Proving Grounds. The gap tightened up, and now if he does not make it, that is probably going to guarantee a very big gap to for Mertz. As rounding the final corner for the white flag, it's Erdman and Paul battling pretty much for nothing, as they have gate choice in the the final for the back row. As Tanner goes to the Joker, I don't know, it's not even going to help.
Yeah, Caleb, I think just reset Living Goods fastest lap, 46.948. That's blistering fast here, and I think there's not enough delta. Oh, excuse me, I guess it's already been settled.
Yeah, the delta has... There would have to be 2 Jokers. Tanner would have to be allowed to take 2 Jokers to catch up, as that bobble really hurt him. Into the final banked hairpin to go over the jump. Erdman missed the final last week, but that was in car number 4. He gets back in car number 2, and I'd say he has his mojo back as he wins the LCQ. Paul transfers, and Smith does not, second in points, does not make the final in car number 13. 7th place points to him, and 8th place points will be to Nick Cars in car number 35.
Yeah, so depending on where Mertz finishes, if he finishes first, I think it's going to be about a 15-point gap between the two. So definitely not the day that Tanner wanted to see, but still 3 races left.
As let's go back here and take a look. It was beginning, I believe, lap number 2. We're going to do it in slow motion here. This is half speed. Caleb and Erdman go to the Joker, and it looks like Tanner was pointed the wrong way, and at the very last second, he tried to counter back as he went over the jump, and it just flung him to the wrong way.
Yeah, I think he was confused on what he wanted to do, if he wanted to pass Caleb through the Joker, if he wanted to follow him, what he wanted to do, and I think that little bit of indecision just kind of screwed him.
As now, for the final, as they round the track. Mertz goes over that second jump there, proceeding into the final dirt hairpin, as everybody else is already at the grid, but I think Mertz was busy with his helmet off, talking to his crew, and they told him, hey, everyone's at the grid, you should go. As getting ready. As here's the second row of the grid, here's the first row of the grid. Mertz is on pole, then it's Sherman, Livingood, and Bellamy, and you saw the second row. It's Erdman and Paul. What's going to happen in this race? I have no clue. I can't predict it.
I wish I could tell you too, because anything could happen.
8 laps, 6 drivers. After this race, there's 63 points left on offer. Currently 84. 21 of the 84 can be taken tonight here in Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless it's NASA RallyCross. Glad you can join us here on the Automotive Sports Network. Getting ready to go, and it's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, it's going to be Living Good with the whole shot that he needs to probably take the lead. Mertz hits Sherman, and it spins Sherman. Paul, I think that's a red flag.
Yeah, definitely. It's more than half the field. Track's blocked. Definite red flag.
As I think Mertz, the problem there was he got a terrible start compared to everybody else. And like you said earlier, the track funnels, and he tried to take what he could get, and he tried too hard, and it sent him into Sherman, which then ping-ponged Sherman into everyone else. So that's going to have to be a reset of the field here. As I don't believe I mentioned it earlier, but a new rule tweak. I know NASA RallyCross tends to just randomly tweak the rules, but a new rule tweak, the points leader has a red number panel, a lot like Supercross, I do believe.
Yeah, something easy to identify here in the broadcast. No question as to who's leading the points. Although it might get a little bit confusing if 3 people end up tying for the points. Just saying. Like
we had last season at Munich with Mertz, Erdman, and Living Good. So the field's the same. Nobody switches gates. And we're going to have another shot at the 8-lap final here in Las Vegas. Getting ready to go, and it's lights out, and away we go. Mertz does not get a terrible start like last race. Sherman and him side by side, and it's going to be Living Good into the first corner with about a car length lead. Mertz and Sherman battling. Mertz gets the spot on Sherman, maybe? Yes, he does. As now, onto the backstretch, it's Living Good, Mertz, Sherman, Erdman, Paul, and Bellamy.
a little bit of contact between Erdman and Sherman there.
As Mertz sends it to the banking as he's trying desperately to catch Living Good. As you see the varying lines there, a couple cars running the inside, a couple cars running the banking. Mertz tries the inside on Living Good, but I don't think that's going to work as he's trying desperately to get by car number 51. As through the final couple of corners, onto the front straightaway to complete lap number 1. It's Living Good, Mertz, Erdman, a lot like last season, but that's your podium currently. Mertz to the Joker, so let's see what this will do. How big is the gap between Mertz and Living Good? As it looks like Mertz had a little bit of an issue getting out of the Joker, so that might hinder him.
That's still going to be a huge gap, though, but still having issues with car control there on the 1.
As Mertz, Living Good, Erdman. Bellamy is battling with Erdman, but currently this podium is a repeat of last season. And I don't know about you, but last season was hella competitive. This season, equally, in my opinion, both of them are. But it just seemed last season was a little bit better.
Yeah, we held a little bit better car count throughout the end of the season.
As lap number 3 begins, Mertz to the Joker again. Living Good will follow him. So it's all going to be down to Living Good's second Joker, and if he can pip Mertz. Mertz is currently fastest as a 47.012 in car number 1, as there are the lap times.
Yeah, I'm not sure what strategy Living Good's on, but I think he's going to try to do, try to fake Mertz out here just a little bit. But he's climbing that gap back a considerable amount from where the two were after Mertz took his Joker.
I think Mertz thought that Living Good followed him the first lap there. Never mind, I got confused. But this race really confuses me sometimes, as I think Mertz is just cruising. He might be confused and thinking Living Good has already taken both of his Jokers. That's what I meant, because it looks like he's cruising, and Living Good is not. Fastest lap from Living Good, 47.189. Mertz a 47.4. So I think he's cruising, and for some strange reason he might be confused and thinking Living Good has already taken both of his Jokers.
Yeah, which I don't think he has. He took one of them and skipped a lap between the two, so Probably confusing when you're just looking at it through a little tiny rectangle in your rearview mirror, but nonetheless, Living Good's coming.
Crossed flags for Mertz in car number 1. Living Good will take to the Joker, so let's see from the helicopter, what will this do with the Delta? Does Living Good have it? He does! Does he? Mertz on the outside, can he make the move? He goes to the inside, he looked for it. Will they make contact? They do! Between Living Good and Mertz. And now this battle is going to get good for the top 2 as they are gone from the rest of the field.
And how many times have we seen this happen?
Like I always say, best of friends off the track. They hate each other on the track, and I think Mertz wants to see that 51 spinning around or stuffed in the fence because he wants another race victory. As Living Good pulling away now in car number 51.
Yeah, we definitely see the aggression in the one machine kind of amplify itself times 10 here. Realizing that there was a mistake to be had there, but it was really close coming out of the out of the Joker, so... Living Good on a roll right now, just hitting corners smooth, but Mertz is fighting back.
45.9 was Living Good's last lap, fastest lap all weekend. Erdman went to the Joker. He has clawed a little bit of gap back, but I don't think he'll make anything happen. Mertz trying the inside. He did half of the banking and sliced off of it, as I think strangely that has given the drivers a really great run.
Yeah, and those are the two different options that we talked about earlier in the broadcast. If you want to make the pass done, you can try to pull a slide job down low, and we might see something happen here between the 1 and the 51. Wouldn't hold those two against it.
2 to go for Dylan Living Good. I don't know if he's superstitious, but if he wins this, it's going to be his 13th career victory, as Mertz is looking for number 15. If you talk to him, he says he already has about 17, as he lost several of them due to penalties in previous seasons. As remember, Mertz, very aggressive in past seasons, would drive way over his head and lost numerous race victories due to penalties. He currently has 14, Living Good 12, and when you think about it, 26 races, that's almost half of the races won by these two drivers.
Yeah, these two drivers definitely the top of the sport right now. Living Good with 4 championships, Mertz with 3. That accounts for 7/8 of the championships that we've had.
And then you think about Erdman, I think he has about 5 or 6 wins. Caleb has 2. The only 2 drivers that don't have wins are Sherman and Bellamy. As Mertz, way over driving now. I think he's trying everything he can as he slammed the wall there. He's probably going to try and dive it in that final banked hairpin, as he needs to make something happen here. 48.3 from Living Good, 48.7 from Mertz, 4/10 slower, but he's trying desperately as he sees the 51 in his sights. Will he try it? To the inside, he dives it in, but he is nowhere close. As over the jump and into the final couple of corners, we haven't said it in a while. He's still second all time, but Living Good wins in Las Vegas, beating Mertz out, who finishes second. Erdman back on the podium in third. Caleb Paul finishes in the 4th spot. 5th place, finishing up here, is Daniel Bellamy. He's quite a ways behind the field, and I think that Keith Sherman has parked the car. He parked previously in car number 15.
Yeah, I'm hearing some mechanical issues on the 15 there, possibly the same ones as Nick Carr's.
As Living Good burns it down, it's Living Good who wins. Mertz second, Erdman third, Paul 4th, 5th Bellamy, 6th Sherman, and Tanner Smith 7th. Biggest story, I would say, of tonight. And Nick Carr's in 8th. And the Drivers' Championship, 117 Mertz. As our graphic is a little bit messed up there, apparently Tanner Smith drives the 51 as in the second in points. But ignore that, it's Living Good second in points with 109. Tanner Smith third with 107. And you can see the cars that did not race today: Dylan Smith, Chris Wetz, Tristan Hagenstein, Nicholson, and Arnold Columbia. So 5 of the top 10 did not race today. So it's Smith, Wetz, Hagenstein. Bellamy does not move with 59. Nicholson not here. Erdman does not move with 47. So realistically, the only movement in the top 10 was for second and third, as the Constructors' Championship, 223 Revolution 218 with MRT. And if the scoring was like it was previously, where the privateers and such weren't not ignored, it would have given Tanner 7th place points, and that probably would have given the championship lead to MRT, but because of the rule tweak, that gives Revolution 1st and 4th place points in the Constructors' Championship, so they have a 5-point lead. The rest of the teams did not change because they are not here, obviously. And the Manufacturers' Championship, these two manufacturers have the same exact finishes. 3 wins, 2 seconds, and I believe a third. So they are tied on points with 3 rounds left. And I would say that we need to return to this track because that was a hell of a race.
Yeah, definitely a lot more exciting than I thought. Got a little bit strung out, but that's because of the different strategies. If you want to run high, you can run high. If you want to run low, you can run low. It's all about how hard you attack the track, and we saw the top 2 attacking it pretty hard there in the last couple of laps.
As the remaining 3 races are out to California, it's Riverside, Irwindale, and Long Beach. The final 2 rounds of the Endurance Cup. Riverside, I remember Long Beach, Endurance round with a Joker, so that's going to be who even knows what's going to happen. So it's on to Riverside in the 2nd round of the Endurance Cup. But Las Vegas, I would say, was a success. For Dylan Livingood, I'm Josh Mertz. So long, everyone.